Hey everybody, and welcome back to Blender. In this video we're going to look at the edit mode. Before I get started, a huge thank you to everyone for subscribing and hitting that notification icon. That really helps me out. And of course an even bigger thank you to my members and patrons. Your names will be running across the bottom of the screen at the end of the video. So after exploring the sculpt mode in our previous videos, we've already seen how amazing a piece of software Blender can be when it's used right. But we can also explore what happens if we just go back to basics. And you can't get much more basic or much more standard 3D program than edit mode. Edit mode is basically a mode which allows us to manipulate the vertices, lines and faces in our object manually. One of the best tools that we can use in Blender is reference images, which allow us to have an image on the screen to work from when we're sculpting. In order to add one of these images, what we simply need to do is come up here to the top in object mode and hit add, and then we can go down to where it says image, and then we can choose reference. Once we've selected our file, we can see our image has appeared in the scene tab. So what we can actually do here is, if we wanted to, we could switch round to our front view. If we choose to select our reference image there and we press the N key, we can actually see properties for that image there, and if we press Alt R, that will simply reset our image properties. Just have to make sure we've got it selected. There we go. And then we can rotate it along the x-axis so that it actually stands in the direction we want it to be. We can just put 90 in there and then that will stand up nice and tall. And of course if we want to, we can actually scale it up like so that it looks nice and big. And then we can use our move tool to move this up so that it sits. Then we can make sure that it stays nice and central. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to line that up roughly with the center there of the orthographic view of this wine bottle, like so. And then we can come out and you can see that that's sitting there quite nicely. Being in object mode, I can just select that cube, nice and easy, no problem at all. Gets that out of the way. And then we've got our reference image to work from, so we're good to go. So what we need to do now is obviously create a shape that's going to allow us to mimic this reference. The most obvious thing that I can see is going to be a cylinder. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a mesh and we're going to add a cylinder in there. Now we can see that that needs some fine tuning. So again, I'm going to go into our orthographic view and I'm going to, where it says add cylinder, we can adjust our position so we can actually increase its position on the Z scale like so, and then we can increase its scale as well, the number of vertices that it has, the radius and the depth, so we can actually increase the size of our object like so, and then just find the happy medium there. And so remember, we're basically copying this shape, so we need to get somewhere in that region. I would say that that works pretty well there. Now that we've got that shape, what we need to do is go into wireframe mode, and now we can actually see the object, or rather the reference file behind our object, and we can see how we stack up, if we're even close to the right size and shape. Now we don't necessarily have to be bang on central on this, but it certainly would help. And if we now go into edit mode, you can see that we now have access to all of our vertices, and because we are in X-ray mode, if I select these vertices at the bottom here, they will in fact all be selected all the way around our object. So as you can see, all of the vertices around the bottom of the cylinder will in fact be selectable at any given time. So we can just click on those, select them, and we can use our move tool and we can actually move those up so that they match the bottom. And we could also, if we wanted to, use our scale tool. And now that we're in our scale tool, what we can do is we can actually select the vertices that we want, and then we can scale them down so that they actually match the shape of the bottom of the bottle. Obviously that's not ideal because it's now a weird shape from this end, but the next thing that we do is going to fix that. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a loop cut. And what that does is it creates a new edge in our mesh. And what we do is we select that with our shift key pressed, we can scroll around, make sure that we stay in the orthographic view like so, and then we're just going to zoom in a bit there. Now we've got our edge cut there, and now we can actually choose which edge we want to create our cut in, and as you can see at the moment it's in the middle of those lines there. It's a very faint yellow line, but if we click we can now actually see that that's there. And now if we select our edge we can see that that's in there, and if we press the G key that will actually let us select that edge, and we can pull that down to about here where we really want it to be. We really want to be focusing on keeping the middle line nice and straight so that it matches the rest of the bottle. And then if we were to go into our scale tool, and we can drag that out so that it matches the shape of the bottle a little better. If we want to do it again, we can go to another edge loop, create that edge loop, now we can go back into our select tool. You can actually click and drag your edges like so. As you can see, I'm just creating loads of them at the moment, but I'm just trying to bring them down. So we've got that. Go back into our select tool now, we can just choose these ones here, and we can press G, and we can move them around, keeping that central line nice and straight because that's our datum point. And then if we press the S key, we can actually scale that to follow the shape of the bottle a little bit better. And then we can do the same thing again. Press G, we grab it, keep that central line nice and straight. Click again, press S, and we can scale that out like that so that it actually matches the shape of the bottle all the way along. And then we can do it again. I'm actually going to drag this one down. I'm just going to hit the S key, make sure that it follows the shape of the bottle as best I can, like so. Do the same thing again here, just drag that out. Now realistically, wine bottle edges are pretty damn straight, but given that this is our first attempt at doing this, you could be forgiven for not having it perfect. No one's going to judge you for that. And you could just be creating a super sexy special type of bottle. Now we're quite lucky because one of our edge loops is right here at the join of this bottle, so we don't actually have to do too much faffing at this end, so we can actually go straight to the top of our bottle. We're going to select this, we're going to press G, just going to drag that down so that it actually meets the top of our bottle. Click on that, then we're going to press S, and we're going to just come right down so that that meets the size of the neck. And as you can see, we are not perfectly aligned here, so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit G, and I can actually centralize that quite nicely like so. And then if we want to do that again, we can just create another loop, click, hold, drag the line to where we want it to be. That's where I'm quite happy with. Do the same thing again, so we could do another one there, and let's do it again. Just click and drag, create another one there, and we're going to add another one there, and just for good measure we'll add another one right there. And now all we have to do is we can create one here. Now we've got that edge selected already, so we can just hit S and we can scale that out like so. And we've got our select tool up here. We can select this next edge loop, and this is not going to be a perfect wine bottle by any stretch of the imagination, but for demonstration purposes you can see what we're trying to achieve here. Select the next edge loop, hit S again, scale it down, select this edge loop, same again, do the same thing again here, starting to funnel out ever so slightly. Select that one there, hold down shift, middle mouse button, move up. I reckon we need a couple more edge loops, so we'll get one there, get one there, and one more round about there. Use our select tool again, hit S to scale, roughly following the shape of the bottle. Hasn't got to be perfect. Remember, this is just an experiment to see how you get used to this. And there you go. Now if we were to go back into solid mode, you can actually see your wine bottle. And if we were to come out of edit mode, go back into object mode, you can see, all things considered, that is not a bad wine bottle. That's pretty good. Now obviously it hasn't got a hole in the top, and it hasn't got our concave bit in the bottom. But for the sake of a really basic prop in one of your scenes, you could be forgiven for just adding a glass shader to that and getting on with it. Not a bad effort, guys. Thanks for watching this one, guys. I hope you found that useful. We will explore this in more detail in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.